2, 1.
Happy Thursday.
It is Thursday. Yes, Friday Eve, actually.
Friday Eve. We love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome to KSAT News Now, streaming from the KSAT 12 newsroom. Always love the atmosphere that we have here in the morning. Getting to hear people hear the scanners in the background. If you're listening to the podcast, that's what that is. The police scanners, the beeping and stuff. So we got a always busy and buzzing newsroom, and we are streaming, of course, KSAT News Now every morning on KSAT.com and also KSAT Plus.
All right, so we have a lot to get to this morning. You could soon get a check in the mail after a multi-million-dollar settlement with a very popular tax filing company, so you want to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, it is Cinco de Mayo, and if you thought that today's is Mexico's Independence Day, well, you would be wrong, but you're not alone, because that is definitely not the case, but we'll explain the origin of the celebration coming right up.
And the latest round of rock and roll inductees have been announced, and it includes an iconic country star who initially said they didn't want to be included, and they still are, so.
Yeah, definitely. Well, great to see her on there. So yeah, we'll run down that list here in just a little bit. And speaking of rolling, we had some weather roll through our area.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Did it wake you up?
You know what? I was up, actually.
Why?
It was like around 11 o'clock at night. I live in part of the west side.
I don't even know what time it was, but yeah, I woke up several times.
Yeah, definitely. So Justin will join us in just a little bit to discuss those storms that we had here. But first of all, we start with a very high-profile trial going on right now.
Yeah, starting today with a court case that everyone seems to be either watching or definitely talking about, the Johnny Depp defamation case against his ex-wife, Amber Heard.
Heard is set to testify again today after taking the stand for hours yesterday. She was very emotional in describing their relationship as she testified and her allegations of physical and sexual abuse from Johnny Depp.
The actor accused Depp of taking cocaine and abusing her, as well as sexually assaulting her after he accused her of stealing his drugs.
So Depp is suing Amber Heard for $50 million. So this lawsuit is over an op-ed that she wrote in December of 2018 for the Washington Post. And the op-ed was about surviving domestic violence, though she actually never mentioned Johnny Depp by name. During
his testimony, Depp said multiple times under oath that he has never struck Heard or any woman at that. The case will likely take weeks to wrap up, so you can expect to hear more from them.
Yeah, and we've been live streaming this also on KSAT.com, as unfortunately there's a lot of interest in this. Obviously, two very high-profile people, but to continue to hear some of the details about this, very much kind of getting into some difficult testimony that we've heard so far from Amber Heard.
Absolutely. I mean, just when you deal with domestic abuse, I mean, these are strong allegations. So it's great that they're in court because it can get settled, but weeks are left. So we'll see how that wraps up.
Yeah, and there's more videos, and they are releasing more texts and things of that nature. Some of these details continue to definitely be trigger things too, like you mentioned, for domestic abuse as well. So it's very emotional stuff there so far. All right, moving on, Alicia, to some big news here that's been happening over the past couple of hours or so, past day. The company behind TurboTax, Intuit Inc., is having to give back millions of dollars into the pockets of more than 4 million customers after misleading promises and a settlement.
So New York's Attorney General announced that the California-based company will have to pay $141 million to get this, nearly 4.4 million taxpayers that use this service across the U.S. Plus, they're suspending TurboTax's free ad campaign.
The claim was that the company was using shady tactics to steer low-income tax filers away from the federally supported free services for which they had qualified, and instead pointed them toward its own commercial products. So this was all brought to light in 2019 by a ProPublica report.
According to documents obtained by ProPublica, Intuit executives knew they were deceiving customers by advertising free services that were, of course, in fact, not free to everyone. So again, those shady tactics, they knew exactly what they were doing, yet they kept doing it for several years.
Yeah, so pay attention to this right here. So those affected, these filers between 2016 and 2018, so you can expect to receive a refund of about $30 for each year that people were deceived. Notices and checks will also be sent by mail.
So more than 4 million customers,
Yeah.
nearly 4.4 million.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Did you ever use TurboTax
Nope.
to file taxes?
Nope.
Okay, so I did.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that yesterday.
Right, yeah, and I believe producer Alicia maybe said that she did as well. Actually never paid for it though. Every time that I was, I kind of knew that the service was free to begin with, so every time that they sort of prompted me to pay for something or they sort of directed me, I always kind of went back to the initial starting point.
Yeah.
But it was very frustrating. It was extremely frustrating. I don't use TurboTax anymore.
Yeah.
And my credits, my taxes are pretty simple anyways, but still, it's I can see where people could have definitely gotten deceived by that.
And this process of filing taxes is overwhelming for some, me included.
Yeah.
So I can see how this can be tricky because they're wanting to make it simple for you and they keep offering these services and they're not the only company that does this.
No,
I mean,
definitely not.
even when I download apps like a free repost app or whatever it may be, they get you saying it's free and then they try to lure you with, but this is major. It might not seem like much, $30 for each person for every year that you've been, scammed, really.
Yeah.
But it adds up. 4 million, more than 4 million people. My goodness.
Yeah, so just keep an eye out for that. Again, those notices coming through the mail, also email as well.
All right, so we talked about this. Today is May 5th, or you may have already heard, Cinco de Mayo. While it is a very significant date in Mexico's history, and while many people believe it's Mexico's Independence Day, that is definitely not the case.
No,
so if you think that it's a big, and two, if you think it's a huge celebration in Mexico.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not the case. So Mexico's Independence Day is the 16 de septiembre, that's September 16th. So Cinco de Mayo actually commemorates the Battle of Puebla when Mexico defeated the French army all the way back in 1862. And in that battle, 2,000 Mexican soldiers defeated 6,000 French troops who tried to claim territory in Mexico.
So days later, Mexico's president, Benito Juarez, declared Cinco de Mayo as a national holiday. But over time, it's definitely been confused with Mexico's independence. Some people don't really even know what they're celebrating. And it's also very, very commercialized in the U.S.
See it all
you
the
have your
time.
typical restaurants with their margarita discounts and Mexican beer discounts.
Yeah, see that all the time, like the top celebrations for Cinco de Mayo, across every city.
It's a big moneymaker.
It definitely is. In fact, I think it's even close, it reaches levels to like the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
It's truly
So,
one of the top. It's one of the busiest days for restaurants.
Right,
Absolutely.
But as we mentioned here, a lot of people do think that this is Mexico's Independence Day, and in fact, according to a survey, this is in 2020, a survey from YouGov, only 40% of Americans knew that May 5th did not commemorate Mexico's independence. So that means that 6 out of 10 people, Americans, think that that is Mexico's Independence Day. That is definitely not the case there.
I don't even know where to begin.
Paused.
There's a lot.
Wow.
It's just a lot.
You paused. Okay.
I still don't understand it. I mean, on my Instagram this morning, I posted that, it's your reminder to not wear a mustache, a sarape, or a sombrero. Like, please don't do it. But I've already seen it this morning, and it is really frustrating because I assure you that if I asked them, why are you dressed like that, they wouldn't even know what they are celebrating. So just be careful, be mindful of that. In Mexico, I want to talk about that too.
Go
in
ahead,
Mexico, it's not this blown, it's not the celebration that we see here in the U.S. Like, I remember as a kid when we had our Cinco de Mayo celebration for the battle, you do a parade and that's really the topic of the day, but that's about it. Like, restaurants aren't celebrating, there aren't specials, no one has the day off, anything like that, right? Very interesting to see what it's become here in the U.S.
So according to some research that I was looking at earlier, Cinco de Mayo obviously popular amongst Mexican Americans. So we talked about very much a U.S. Mexican American sort of celebration, and it became very popular during the Chicano movement in the 60s and 70s, but more so now, I think, where at the time it was probably more about your heritage, looking back at some of your roots, and obviously remembering that the battle itself. I think now we see all the commercialization of it, and that's what's really
it is something to be really proud of. 2,000 taking on 6,000 soldiers and winning.
Yeah, and I don't want to go on a history
Rant here?
rabbit hole here, but that battle was actually after the Mexican-American War. So Mexico's army was still dealing with losing Texas, that whole situation here with the Texas Revolution. So it's a significant date for Mexico's history, but not their Independence Day.
So if you're going to celebrate, just be aware of what you're celebrating. All right, so what? Period.
As Alyssa chimes in there.
All right, so what's one thing that Dolly Parton, Lionel Richie, and Eminem have in common?
Okay, here we go. I wish I didn't know the answer to this, but they are among this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah, so
that,
also, this is, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Dolly, I mean, there's no doubt about it that she's a legend. Also in the performer category for the class of 2022 are Duran Duran, Pat Benatar.
Yeah, Pat Benatar.
How do you say this one?
The Eurythmics.
The Eurythmics.
Yes.
And
Very
Carly
popular
Simon.
80s group. Yeah, Carly Simon as well. So artists are eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall nomination 25 years after their first commercial recording came out. Very interesting. That's pretty
25 years, so keep in mind, Eminem is pretty young.
Oh my God, yeah,
Right, that's
that
who
makes
I
me
grew
feel
up
really old.
listening to. So this means that
About to
it
get
was the
old.
first year of eligibility for hip hop heavyweight champion and genius Eminem. Earlier this year, Dolly Parton gave a lot to talk about after she released a statement on social media saying that she, quote, "I really do not want votes to be split because of me, so I must respectfully bow out." So that was her initial response.
Yes, yeah, but she later tweeted that, quote, she will, of course, accept it gracefully, and it says, thanks to everyone that voted for me and everyone at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She will continue to work hard to try to live up to that honor. Number one songs, okay, so yeah, with the Dolly Parton thing, I think she also had said something like, well, she didn't feel like her music was rock and roll, so she didn't feel like she needed to be included in that.
And I mean, if this Hall of Fame isn't just for rock and roll, they have other genres that, I mean, you have Eminem.
Yeah.
Eminem. Hip hop.
Eminem, yeah, first ballot Hall of Fame nominee. He's like Manu Ginobili going in there.
I'm so
First
excited
ballot,
about
there we
that
go.
one. Eminem.
Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers. So we want to do a little thing here where we talk about the number one songs when we were born. So Alicia, do you want to
Yeah,
start us off
so back in my day, Jump by Criss Cross.
here? Jump, jump. A Mac
Yeah.
Daddy make you jump, jump. A Daddy make, right? There we go. Yeah, they'd wear their pants
Wearing your
backwards.
pants backwards. Well, I was alive, but I didn't see it.
You
so.
were wearing your pants backwards? All right, so my song, number one song when I was born was I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett. So that was like, I love
that
rock
one.
and roll. Oh, you know.
I knew the Big Al
know Criss
version
Cross?
before hers. Is it Big Al?
Big
Is that
Al?
the
Weird
guy
Al?
that-
Weird Al?
Rude Al, there you go.
Weird.
Weird Al. Weird Al. Yeah, that dude. Didn't Britney Spears also do a cover
I'm
of that
not
song?
sure about that one.
Crossroads? What? Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
oh my
yes.
God.
See? Now
Now
we're
we're going
talking.
Forgot all
And
about that
for our
movie.
producer Alyssa, she had "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston.
Not gonna
That
try
was
and
the
sing that one,
jam
so.
back in her day. Neither will I.
No. And
Justin?
Eye of the Tiger.
I the
Let's
Tiger.
go.
Rocky.
There we go.
Survivor.
Survivor,
That
man.
is
It
a
was
good
not
one.
by Rocky.
Well, not by Rocky. It's by Survivor, but it was in Rocky.
It was in Rocky, yeah.
Yes.
Just training montage.
Yes.
I am the tiger. Very 80s-ish. Hair bands,
Throwing the
metal.
I forget your age sometimes.
I love rock music. Sometimes I have some
Clearly.
issues with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and some of their nominees, but I kind of like these. Lionel Richie. Yeah, shout out to Lionel Richie.
I know we didn't even
Oh,
talk
man,
about him. I'm
R&B.
just still very excited about Eminem. Hold on. Quick confession. I remember, all Eminem's explicit albums, right? Convincing my mom because she
Advisory?
doesn't speak English, convincing her that I could, that didn't mean anything, and to buy it. for me.
Wow.
Thanks, Mom. Gracias.
Parental advisory, the little thing in the bottom. Oh my God.
I wanted the real, which I didn't even know what I was singing to. Anyways, all right. So
man.
now let's move on to free gym memberships. I wish I was included in this. So in the wake of a pandemic, exercise we know is as important as ever, but not everyone can afford a gym membership. So in order to encourage physical and mental wellness among teenagers. Planet Fitness, they're doing it big, and they're offering teens a free membership this summer.
So this is really cool. Anyone between the ages of 14 and 19 can sign up for a free membership through May 16th through August 31st, and you can sign up online or at your closest location, but know that teens will only be allowed to work out at the center where they initially sign up.
They're also offering scholarships for teens, including a $5,000 grand prize. We have all that information listed on KSAT.com. So if you're looking for something to do for your teenager, there aren't like any like teen camps. It's usually like for the little ones.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing, you know, to keep them busy and active.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's free. How cool.
And you mentioned camps. I mean, some of those have gotten pretty pricey to begin with.
Yes.
So for any of these teens that maybe want to try and work out, maybe they're playing sports for their high schools, you know, just try and get into the gym, try and lift a little weights, get some cardio.
Very good. So if you want a free gym membership and you're in that age range, then definitely sign up. Take advantage.
Yeah, good stuff there.
All right, so we talked about last night. I woke up to it a little wild. Even this morning, still some patches of rain.
Yep.
And then I just saw your tweet of a tornado warning, not in Bexar County, but
Tornado watch.
Watch.
Yeah, not here. It's to our north and east. And you guys mentioned those storms last night. I mean, they tracked all the way from Mexico to San Antonio.
Yeah.
They covered some real estate and dropping hail and gusty winds and a lot of rain along the way. Once it made it to San Antonio, those storms kind of fell apart. So we didn't get a ton of rain here, but along Highway 90, there was quite a bit of rain with that particular storm last night. So let's move into the present. Here is what we have at this hour. Some spotty downpours starting to show up here across the city of San Antonio. You see one there down around Elmendorf. Lavernia, starting to see a few pop up there. These are going to be quick moving. They're non-severe. So you're just going to have to use the windshield wipers briefly, and then they'll move right along. A little closer look here at San Antonio. We had one little shower move through downtown. Otherwise, another shower there on the southeast side trying to cross Interstate 37 out towards Atkins, seeing a downpour there. So we'll see a little bit more of this. As we get into the afternoon, we'll have to watch for the possibility of some severe weather. Although I'll tell you, the risk for severe weather in general is the higher risk is going to be to our north and east and away from us. We just can't rule it out. So that's why we need to mention it as we get into the afternoon. Once we get some daytime heating. So there is the tornado watch we just mentioned. It includes Fredericksburg, Gillespie County, Blanco, and to the north and east, Austin, Georgetown, over towards Giddings and Bastrop. It does not include San Antonio. And that's part of what I mentioned, where the better threat, the better dynamics for severe weather are going to be north and northeast of our area throughout the day today. And that's going to be the case going into this afternoon and this evening as well. And there we go. We'll go to the next picture here. This was some damage last night here in San Antonio. A tree fell on a car there. So it just gives you an idea. We had some very gusty winds with those storms as they did come in. Here's the big picture, and I think this gives us a better idea of what's going on here. So we have our low spinning up here across parts of Kansas. There's that tornado watch box. And this is the region where severe weather is a good bet today. So east of Dallas, Tyler, Shreveport, down to about Austin. That's where we're already seeing some big time storms, and it'll probably get a little bit worse. But that boundary that's creating this is going to sink south into our area. We're noticing we're getting some development now out around Junction. So it's this area here, the Hill Country, next couple of hours that we'll want to watch. And then eventually some of that may work through, make its way down towards San Antonio this afternoon. So our forecast, about a 40% chance of rain starting noontime through the early afternoon. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s. And by the way, not everyone is going to get rain today. I should point that out. It'll be hit or miss, and so will the threat for severe weather. We'll drop off the rain chances to about 30% at 5 o'clock, 85, and then really rain chances go away this evening. And after this, we're done with the rain. I mean, the extended forecast is extremely dry, so we're actually going to keep our fingers crossed for some rain today. We just don't want the severe weather. Temperatures will fall down into the 70s by 10 and 11 o'clock. And you look at the extended forecast here, the big story becomes this weekend, the heat. 100 Saturday, 100 Sunday, and 97 Monday. I mean, this is some big time heat for May, early May. Mother's Day is going to be one of the hotter Mother's Days on record with a high near 100, guys.
So maybe plan for some indoor activities for mom there?
I know, not because of the rain, just too hot.
Yeah, it's just too hot.
Say no to patio seating
Yeah,
that weekend.
You know, I should mention too that ERCOT put out a message that you know the energy will be used at a high rate over the weekend. They think that there's going to be plenty to cover the electricity use, but we're going to be getting close to that peak, so something to watch too.
Oh man. All right. Thank you so much,
Yep.
Justin.
Yeah, thank you very much, Justin. And kind of going off a little bit what Justin was saying, some of the photos that people sent in. We have an article on our website, KSAT.com, that shows viewers that shared images with us from these storms overnight. So we always appreciate people taking the time to do that, just as long as they do it safely.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always, there's pictures of lightning in there. Again, some trees that have been toppled over. And
Did you get
it's always
hail
some very interesting
on your
stuff.
side of town?
Not really, no.
No?
I think that's probably why I was not really awakened. But I was up. I was up pretty late last night. I heard the rain though. Heard the
Yeah.
rain. Yeah.
I heard the
It
hail
got you
at
up,
one
though?
point. Yeah, I was like, "What is going on?" But it's much needed rain. But like Justin said, hopefully no severe weather.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, you guys. Well, happy Thursday. We've almost made it to the end of the week. I hope y'all have some good plans this weekend. But we'll see you right here tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Yeah, have a good one, everybody. Thanks for being with us this morning.